Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and I'm back today with yet another episode of Game of Thrones, War of the Roses. We're here with the full cast and crew again to get into episode 3.2, kind of. We had like a little full start last week, so we're kind of retaking episode 3. But we're here, and we're here to have fun, so let's get into it. Let's remind ourselves of who we are and who we're going to be playing tonight as well. And let's start with Jen. How's it going, Jen?
Hi, how's it going? Going well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to get into today and continue from where we left off last week.
Me too. I was so bummed last week that we had technical difficulties, but I'm so happy to be back this week and get back into it. I am Jen. I am DreamWisp on Twitter and DreamWisp Jen on Twitch, and I am playing Devon Rain, who is a young member of the Night's Watch, who has some interesting ties to House McNair that we are starting to discover. So, yeah.
Awesome stuff.
I can't wait to dig into it deeper.
Me too. Great stuff. And we have Bird versus Play with us tonight. Bird, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, it's going fantastic. I have been waiting all week to delve more into this. We only got a taste last week, so let's just get this thing started. I am going to be playing Septon Birch, who is an older gentleman and one of the high holy men of the 1 and 7, the true faith of Westeros, though he's kind of out of his element here up north and doesn't have that many friends to rely on. So hopefully we have some bonding sessions soon.
Alrighty, great stuff. I'm looking forward to that, if and when a bonding session with the 7 comes around. And of course, we have Steel Rain back with us tonight. Steel, how's it going, my friend?
I'm good. Looking forward to it like everybody else. I think everyone was getting pretty excited as to where things were heading and then, issues. So I just want to dive right back into it. And I'm playing Cyril Price. He's Cyril Price. Find out more later.
That's all for now. And of course, it would not be complete without his Squire Roynard, who
That's
is
right.
Possibly the MVP of the show. Awesome stuff. And last but not least, we have Joseph with us. He's lost somewhere in time space. I'm trying to figure out where he's found himself. But we have Kitty with us tonight. Kitty, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I just realized that my hair is green screened.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
No,
I'm doing great. Yeah, this is why I've been wearing wigs the last few weeks, and I just remembered why today. But I'm playing Kaylee Tarbeck, who is like a spunky young kid, friend to the young Lord Cicero, who hopefully we will see, and is gone from the void back to our wonderful place here.
Absolutely. And of course we have Joseph, who I'm troubleshooting to get back in at the moment. He'll be with us soon, TM. I'll remind you guys of a couple of things before we kick things off. The first of which is that we're sponsored today by FantasyGrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. Go and check it out. The demo version is free to try, so if you want to play your own games at home, you can do so for free. Waylandgames.co.uk sell fantastic board games, war games, minis at up to 20% off the retail value, so go and check those guys out. And last but not least, Tabletop Loot giveaway, a set of dice every single game, so stick around to the end of the show and we'll give away another set of dice to you guys. Here is a tweet, 20 euro retweets. You guys get to decide something which happens next in our game. And of course, you can donate to a further game at any time by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wilds, magic surges, and worse. But the recap for you guys, because it's been kind of 2 weeks in a way, 1 point some amount of weeks, and we're back. So the party are at Blackwood Hall. They're familial rivals, and they are here for a tournament. Now, last time the party showed up to receive a very icy welcome from Lord and Lady Blackwood. They have since Cicero had a little run-in with another Sir Price, who revealed himself to be the father of our good Sir Cyril Price, and there's much to be explored there. But they've come here on another reason as well, because many of their scouts entered into Blackwood territory and went missing. One of them showed up dead with arrows in his back, and they strongly suspect the son, Michael Blackwood, of foul play, possibly holding prisoners somewhere on the castle sort of campus. So they've got both the tournament to worry about and their missing scouts. They have most recently heard that Lord Roose Bolton from the Dreadfort will be in attendance later today, as this is one of the bigger tournaments held in the north for a very long time. So that's where we're going to kick things off. As the party inside we followed a little bit last week. The party outside rather will follow now. So we have Septon Birch is out there, along with Devon and Cyril Price. I think Devon had gone off on his own for a little bit, while Cyril and Septon had stayed behind. So let's start things with Devon. Where would we find Devon at this point?
Devon is sort of milling the crowds, trying to pick up on any gossip about things that might be happening, more unsavory things that might be happening with the Blackwoods.
Okay. Sort of keeping
dirt a little bit.
Yeah, like keeping an ear in the crowd as to what people are saying, or specifically sort of looking, do you think?
I mean, specifically, I'd be looking for information on people who are being held here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely an area that I'm interested in.
Okay, let me pull up the sheets to remember all of the different skills. I think there is a cunning, sort of streetwise type check that would be appropriate. Yeah, like a cunning?
I do.
Yeah. Let's give that a roll.
Okay. That is 4.
If you have there as well. Maybe.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, painful.
What's that?
7.
7? So you keep your ear to the ground and you keep an eye out. Now, you know where the dungeons, are. As like every keeping castle has a dungeons where you keep delinquents and prisoners alike, or just people who are getting too drunk at the festival. However, they are pretty well guarded, probably because there are so many people around. So that may indicate towards Devon that someone in particular that they don't want to be found is being hidden inside. But there's no real way that you're getting in there. And the talk of the festival seems to be a lot more about the hubbub and the excitement of the event itself, of which knights are going to be jousting and the like. So unless you could find someone who's more of like a contact who keeps their ear to the ground as well, most of the people around here are sort of just getting drunk and having a good time.
Is there anyone I recognize as being someone who might fall into that camp?
You wouldn't recognize anyone by name or face from your time staying here, but the best bet is generally like innkeepers and barkeeps and the like. So where you don't know anyone particularly, you could scout around pretty easily.
I'm going to go do a bit of an appearance swap. I think Devon's going to go off and change it up a little bit and come back looking pretty different. A little bit more noble. Maybe a kind of a distant cousin type thing, a little more money. And perhaps wearing the colors of a house that is a little bit more neutral toward the Blackwoods. Not a staunch ally, but also not anyone who really has long-standing beef with them.
Okay. You can definitely do that. A quick sort of costume change, and probably the colors of a house far away enough that no one's really going to know who you are.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Okay. Perfect. You blend yourself into the crowd.
I'll find myself a tavern where I can sort of sit unobserved and observe.
Okay. All right, we'll cut back to you in just a minute then as your observations continue. So Cyril Price and Septon Birch, you were left outside while Kaylee and Cicero went into Blackwood Hall. What would you guys be doing at this point?
The Septon is definitely kind of eyeing Cyril. It's confusing to him that Sir Cyril, the ultimate badass, the protector of Cicero, did not attend this meeting with him. And so he's kind of trying to get a feel for what's going through Cyril's mind.
Cyril Price, after watching them walk in, would pretty much turn about and head towards the camp.
Okay. So
He's
yeah,
getting
you pretty
followed.
much just see him turn on his heel and follow after him.
Mhm.
It's not long before you get to the area away from the keep, which is sort of just in the castle walls where all of the tents of the knights are being pitched. Just by banners and probably even by just some faces, you recognize a great deal of other sort of questing and or like hedge knights who are in attendance and in the area. You know that there are going to be attending 64 knights in total. So it's a pretty packed sort of tent and staging area. Then you've got all of the squires who are running around eager to be to prove themselves, and you have all of the servants who are running to fetch things and the like. So it's a pretty busy camp that you guys are entering into. You can find where the McNair tent is by colours.
Cyril Price would ignore all of the other knights about him, not making much eye contact, very driven to get to the camp and not speak with anyone.
Okay. You reach the tents. What do you do when you get there?
I would go straight inside, close the flap behind me.
Septon Burge is absolutely going to just kind of follow through. I'm going to say, has been struggling to keep pace as a bit of an older, wider gentleman, but he has been like kind of frantically scrambling behind, his staff in hand, trying to keep up, and he will, unless it is shut in a certain fashion, will also open into the tent and follow Cyril in, breathing heavily at this point. And are you just standing there? Are you looking for anything in particular, or what do you think?
Cyril Price would find a stool, chair, or bench, sit down, and take out some food. So, not really paying much mind to Septon Burge.
Then
But
he
not
will
upset
saddle up.
that he's there.
Sure. He will saddle up next to you again, trying to kind of compose himself, probably using his little shawl to dampen some of the sweat that's on his forehead now. Just, Sir Cyril, I must say, was it the wisest decision to let the young lord enter in there alone? Well, not alone. Your boy was with him, but without you there.
With this many knights around, do you believe that trickery would be afoot in a public place?
Well, I just saw the young Blackwood enter into McNair's very halls not but a few days ago to lay down a gauntlet, so yes, even in something as guarded as a heavily populated hall would I see some sort of trickery. Again, was that
There
the
are too
wisest
many
call?
eyes. There are far too many eyes. Those who would, or do, swear fealty to the Blackwoods, and those who are here by invitation. It would go against court decorum to slay someone within the hall. It is common and expected to greet the host of the event. Nothing will happen to them. And he sits, looking down at his food. Not upset, not annoyed, not really dismissive, just factual.
So what is it he is to do now? Cicero, I mean. I don't know if you saw, but even back there at the Bale's Tavern, his hands looked a bit shaky, even holding a silverware knife. Is he ready for this?
He will have to be. It is a trial by fire. He must be the leader. He is here in his father's stead. So, if I were to be hovering over his shoulder, I would seem to undermine his authority. He needs to be confident. He must command attention, not simply wait for someone in armor behind him to give him the authority he desires.
And yet, in the woods with the scouts, that was you simply standing back, not undermining his authority?
I did not stand back. I was pulled back by him, by Cicero, and I listened to his command, as any good soldier would. He wished to let them go, and so I honored his authority. If I were to have cut them down, I would be undermining Cicero's authority. Do you see, Septon Birch?
I see. You have a specifically tactical mind, Sir Sarah. You will serve the young lord well, it seems.
We shall see.
We're working on getting Joseph back in, but Kaylee, where would you head after leaving the keep with Cicero? And we'll say that for now he's distracted or gets caught speaking to another noble and sort of drifts away from the conversation with you.
I would think she would probably head out, and I would almost start to kind of explore about with a keen eye about her, but not just go straight back to the tent and men in my territory. She's a very
right.
generally positive person. She knows times aren't great, but it's not we're just gonna cut and dry. So I think she would probably look around and see if there's anything that would catch her eye. Maybe some other blacksmiths working, or some fine little pop-up shops that they would have.
This is it's very much like heading to a big market, like a Camden or a Kensington market type of deal. People flogging wares, or street performers and dancers. There's fire being eaten and thrown around by different performers. As you head out, actually, you stumble into someone who's coming very quickly into the hall, as he sort of, clearly not looking where he's going, stumbles into you and almost sort of bowls you over as he's coming in at quite a lot of speed. He quickly apologizes and sort of sets himself straight, and you see very clearly a knight, due to his armor, a young knight, probably in his early 20s, with this thick locks of black hair, very handsome smile, charming look on his face. He's Hugh Grant in a rom-com, and he's accidentally walked into you. He just stops and he's like, "Oh, I'm so dreadfully sorry. I barely saw you there. I apologize. Sometimes I don't look where I'm going,
Perhaps you should pull your head from the clouds and look a bit further down. You wouldn't be running into people everywhere."
You sound a lot like my father.
Then perhaps he has a bit of better head on him than you do.
Aye, that's what the men say. Yes, they say, Sir Donald Lee, he is a fighter, not a thinker. And, well, I don't argue with that. My father is a far cleverer man than I am. There we go. I don't believe we've met before. Sir Donald Lee, a pleasure to meet you.
Kaylee Tarbeck. So, a lord, lady, blacksmith.
Oh, what a marvelous craft. Yes, that must be very rewarding. I think I might have heard of a Tarbeck, around these parts. A man, no? Maybe your father or brother?
I have no brothers, but perhaps my father's wares do travel far. But I would also say that my uncle has many children. Like rabbits they are. You see.
Of
Could be
course.
something
Well,
else.
that is good. That is good. It is well to have a large family to spread out into the lands, as my father is always telling me. So, are you here with the what do they call it, the McNair household? I've been meaning to find that young Cicero lad.
Perhaps I am, yes, here with the McNairs.
Oh, well, marvelous, marvelous. And you must show me to this young Cicero. I wish to test my blade against any young up-and-comers, and I've been recommended by my father that I should meet this young man.
Test your blade, well. He's inside in the hole. One that I was just heading out of, and I suppose you coming in. If you're wishing to speak with him. He's a bit busy, though. Perhaps I could offer you a
Such
drink.
things. Marvelous. A drink would be
Thank you.
delightful. My throat is parched from the road. Well,
This is my first time
Isn't
here.
this-
Perhaps you lead the way, then.
I'll show you. Let's find a drinking tent. That Cicero fellow can wait. He can find me if he wants to speak with me. What? Come! And he heads over to like one of the beer tents to start getting some ales. He's very amiable and happy to chat about everything, but he does have his head in the clouds. He's, clearly not all the way there. Maybe not quite catching the gravitas of the situation for you guys. This is clearly like a very fun event for him. And we'd be like, I haven't tested my lance yet in a tournament. This is my first. So it's all very exciting.
So, well, they say drink's great for nerves. Might do you
True
some
enough.
good then. You're first with your blade, and Kaylee's just like sipping like just water still, like she's just carrying the conversation on for it not to be bring attention, but is encouraging the drink for him.
He's having a drink. Would you like a drink as well?
Well, the sun's still in the sky, and I prefer to wait till it starts to dim a bit for myself. It takes in a bit of alcohol, and saying I'm a bit of lightweight, and I don't want to really embarrass myself too terribly much without my lord here.
Well, perhaps it is better to embarrass yourself here without your lord, rather than with him being here. Tell me then of this Cicero. Is he an uptight kind of fellow?
I'm not sure if uptight is the right word for it. Perhaps. He's quite cordial and respectable. Strong. He's quite a good warrior. He's not best to me, but what can you say?
Does he fight with honor?
Of course. All the McNairs fight with honor.
Very good. Very good. I am pleased to hear it. There is not enough honor and chivalry in these lands anymore, I would say. Now, I've heard a thing or two about these Blackwoods, and I'm not sure that I like all that they're up to. What?
What do you assume that they're up to here then that makes you so nervous?
Oh, well, I heard that they had rather got you up to your codpiece in trouble when it comes to this whole lumber business and whatever it is. Heard it was spurious stuff. That's what my father told me. He's a very clever man.
Perhaps the words like this should be held between your father then. He's a bit more clever than you.
True enough, there I go again. My loose tongue opening up with just one beverage. Well, perhaps I should call it here and go and meet with Lord and Lady Blackwood and introduce myself. Find to bring honor to my father.
It might be a bit of a good idea then.
Quite.
Don't go bumping into anyone else. Keep your head down, look.
Yes, I will be certain. But, I would not have had this any other way, for if I had not been looking, we would not be here, Miss Tarbeck. And this has been the most enchanting evening of conversation I could ever have hoped for. in my entire life.
She just kind of like smiles and like, well then, and turns to go.
This has literally been the best time. And he will reach out to kiss like a ring on your finger, and he does like a deep bow. My lady. And he like turns and heads off to the Blackwood Keep. He bumps into like 3 people along the way.
So Kaylee's kind of like a little like cringed from it, but then probably goes along the market. And can I like look around and see if there's any sort of maybe smiths that she could look through, or items perhaps that she would be interested in?
Yeah. There is
Weapons.
certainly the castle blacksmith is here, who's even at this hour very, very busy. And then you have a variety of other blacksmiths who are sort of traveling smiths who are here to fix their knight's armor because there's going to be various accidents that go wrong. And armor which needs fixing and the like. So there's quite a variety of folks around here.
All right. So I would assume she'd probably like pick and poke her way through as she makes her way down to the McNair tent.
Okay,
Going through the harshly closed flaps.
awesome. So let's cut back then to Devron. So, Devron, you have been keeping your eye out in more of a noble's guise, I suppose. Are you looking to initiate conversations, or are you just sort of seeing if anyone's having any... Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly listening and trying to lay the groundwork. I know that I risk making missteps were I to try and engage too much until I knew what my footing was. So I'm mostly just paying attention, watching people, watching who's talking to whom and what they're talking about, and the general mood, the tension of the interactions. I'm looking for the subtle cues that might not come through otherwise.
Okay. So a lot of the conversation is on the topic of Sir Kieran Glovelin. And Sir Kieran Glovelin is, by all accounts, supposed to do very well in the joust. He is the heartthrob of many, alas, due to his marital status of being single and young and rich, and apparently a very good knight. And then there is, of course, Sir Donald Lee, who is also considered to be his sort of equal in the joust. They're expected to do very well indeed. And probably the ideal final is between the two of them for everyone. They're sort of like the all-stars from the respective lands and teams that people want to see do really well. The undercurrent of the current conversation you definitely pick up as being sort of nervous. There is Bruce Bolton, who is shortly going to be arriving tonight, apparently. And Bruce Bolton commands a certain level of fear amongst everyone. The banner is out of the Flayed Man, and it's said that before they bent the knee to the Starks of Winterfell, that the Boltons would flay their enemies and throw them up on pikes and banners and the like. And some whisper that they still perform that ritual, but we'll see. So there's definitely a fair amount of concern about having Boltons around.
Okay. Are there... Let's see. I will sort of look around. So it seems like the heartthrobs are where a lot of the conversation is. The heartthrobs and the joust conversation. I may switch over then to a slightly different... I'll keep sort of the general theme, but I'm going to go ahead and switch over to more of a female costume at this point. Okay. And I'm going to go try and find some of the sort of maybe flightier, more gossipy young ladies of the houses.
Okay,
And
yeah, absolutely.
see if I can have a chat over there.
Okay.
Doing a lot of clothing
Uh,
changes today, but it's
A lot of
this
outfit
is
changes. It's all good.
what I'm up to. Got to scout it out.
Yeah, you head over to a particularly vivacious flock of young noble ladies who seem to be gossiping. They are like loosely surrounded by armed guards who are like, looking over the shoulder, the equivalent of like a security detail who are like watching them. Well, the guards, aren't really keeping an eye on what they're doing. But you kind of slip right in. There's about 3 or 4 of them. They seem to be led. This sort of gaggle seem to be led by one girl, early 20s, who's got this long, almost like silverish hair.
Okay.
And she seems to be the one that's sort of like the one in charge here.
Who is she?
You could roll me a status roll to see if you'd recognize her.
Okay.
She is quite distinctive.
Okay. Let's see here. So 5.
Okay. Yeah, let me go and name check it for you. Her name is Mallory Trent. So many names in Game of Thrones. I put them in their fancy grand speed there. You don't know too much about her. You would know more about the Trent family than her in particular. The Trents are sort of adventurers. They love the idea of chivalry and honor and that sort of old school values of knighthood that some people still believe in.
So very much
but they're actually from the Riverlands, so they're actually quite far way down south.
Okay. But similar kind of terrain and in some ways sort of similar to the McNair.
Right.
Okay. Milady Mallory! Oh, it is so good to see you.
She kind of looks at you quizzically. Oh, she's like clearly like a little bit into her cups at this point. Yes, it's so good to see you too. How's it? How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's been a time.
She's doing that thing where she's like trying to place you.
And I am letting her sit in that discomfort because it is to my advantage. Oh, hey!
He's in.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's sort of like, yes, it must have been, the last spring ball. Yes, last spring ball.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't at the last spring ball. I was. It was further back. Do you not recall?
It's, I'm struggling to remember exactly when.
And I kind of do a little bit of an insulted, just really trying to make her feel feel off kilter because she has forgotten me. It's a little bit snubbed.
Yeah. She quickly sort of corrects herself and is like, well, you must meet my friends here. And she introduces basically handmaidens and some other minor nobles from the Riverlands who are here as well. And she says, so, you must have heard the news or the gossip about the tournament. All very exciting, isn't it?
Oh, I have. Sakirin. I assume you're rooting for Sakirin.
Well, it really is a toss-up between him and Sir Donald Lee, and the other 3 girls begin to, giggle excitedly at the mention of his name. Swoon.
It's a bit shocking, Lady Mallory, that you are not yet wed.
Well, that may not always be the case by the end of this tournament, depending on how things go.
I mean, a woman of your age. It's a bit odd.
She gets the snub and like, yeah, her face sort of drops and is like, and who is it that you were married to again?
Oh, do you not recall my husband? He's over there somewhere.
I can't say that he left any kind of impression upon me at all.
Well, that's a failure of your memory, unfortunately, and your manners.
She looks over, at you point towards a group of nobles who are in a corner far away enough that she doesn't recognize anyone. And she's like, so, is he going to be jousting then?
Oh, we shall see. We shall see. How are things at, what's the name of the Trent home?
Oh, they're in the Riverlands. It would be like Trent Hall. Yeah.
Oh, so how are things at Trent Hall? I'd heard some whisperings, and I just wanted to make sure that things were all right where you are.
Whisperings? I can assure you there are no whisperings at Trent Hall. Everything is very fine.
Is it? Is it? Oh, wonderful. So the tales are not true.
She leans in. What tales?
You know what
Who told you
about
these tales?
You know who told me. Word travels.
That she her face darkens and she's like, was it Janice Pommingham? Janice, she just can't help herself, can she, that bitch? Ever since last spring ball, she's been up my ass with all of these rumors and... What did she say?
You know what she said.
Accelerates, Grad. What's up, buddy? She nods. And the other girls all get on this. Other girls sort of look the other way, heads down, they don't want to be involved because it's clear that Mallory's pretty angry at this turn of events. And she says, I can assure you there was absolutely no chance in hell that there was anything like that. There was... Sir Donald Lee was there for a weekend, and we slept in completely different wings.
Did you? Well, you might want to tell her that. I just wanted you to know, for your own sake.
She grits her teeth. Well, that Pommingham will get what's coming to her. I'll make sure of it. I heard something about her.
What?
And the other girls all sort of lean in. Oh, yes. The Pomminghams, they've been sending lots of money over towards the Boltons. Not just that usual kind of gift giving and the like. No. They've been giving them all sorts as well. Weapons, arms, good horses, that kind of thing. Rather suspicious, wouldn't you say?
But for what purpose?
Oh,
You know,
who even knows? That bitch probably doesn't need a reason to spread her legs and give whoever it is that wants some, whatever it is she has at the time.
The Boltons. Well, they're not. Fair enough. It's true, she is trouble. Well,
Yes, if you see her here, then you tell me. I'll
I
find her.
absolutely will. And thank you for the clarification, and I just wanted you to know. And I'm so relieved to hear those were just filthy rumors. In any case, it was lovely to see you and enjoy the tournament, and I wish you his favor.
Yes. Best of luck to you and your husband as well.
Why, thank you. We shall see you soon. Perhaps at the ball. And I walk away.
All right, so back at all this time.
So I
watching
will
Mingos
now
is
be
finding-
looking for. I'm sorry. What was the name of the woman that she was saying?
I
The
put it in the
Plumminghams?
in the fancy grounds for you. Janice Plummingham. You can
I
roll me
will
a
now be
status if you
looking-
want on the Plumminghams to see what you would know about them.
Okay. And I am going to actively be looking for her now, maybe with a
Okay.
slight tweak to my look. So that would be 13.
Okay, so the Plumminghams are also based. Okay, so they are closer to White Harbor, which is south from Winterfell, and one of the last stops before you get to like the Vale of Arryn and the Riverlands all the way down south. So they are around the White Harbor sort of area, which is close enough to the Dreadfort for this to make sense. They are south west of the Dreadfort, and that's where their sort of area is. Again, I'll link the chat if you want the map of the friends. They're closest to between White Harbor and Hornwood, up in the north there. Is where
They're
those
not
guys are
far
at.
from us.
Not a whole way away. I mean, that is like several dozens of leagues away. So like far enough away for it to be far away, but not so far away as like they're on another continent or they're all the way down south. Yeah. All right, we're going to cut over to Cicero. So Cicero, you've just had a very interesting conversation inside with another Sir Price. Haley has sort of slipped away while you've been caught in this conversation, and you're left alone in Blackwood Hall. Oh, you are muted, my friend.
I can hear him.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe I have something that can bring you in here. There we go. Now I hear you.
Okay. Is everything good now?
Yeah, we're all good. We're all set.
Okay,
Something I should know is that as you finish that conversation with Sir Price, you see a young, affable knight with long locks of black hair stepping in. He sort of rushes into someone, acts, "Oh, so sorry," as he looks around, and he's sort of waiting in line to be introduced. And he sort of meets eyes with you, and he sort of like points over towards you and heads over. Lord Cicero McNair.
Yes, that is me. What is your name? Who do I have the pleasure of meeting?
This is literally the best thing that's happened all day. My name is Sir Donald Lee, and I've just had a charming conversation with a rather enchanting lady that I think you may know, Kaylee Tarbeck.
I do know one by the name of Kaylee Tarbeck, and she is quite charming.
She is quite literally the best thing that I've met all day. And I've met a haunch of chicken. So, I was. She told me that I should to speak with you, and that you were a knight of honor. Is this the case?
Yes, I'd like to think so. What is it that you're seeking to speak about?
Well, what isn't there to speak about, boy? There is so much to speak about. I mean, we've got the tournament listings to consider. We've got the tactics that we're going to be using. We've got the consideration about the melee. What are we going to be doing about that other fellow? Already forgotten his name. Sakiran Glovelin. He's quite the competition. Which blacksmith are we going to be going to get our armor repairs? Where should I pitch my tent so that we can meet in the morning to discuss tactics? I mean, there's so much to consider.
Cicero just kind of holds his hands up as he's rambling on.
I've taken all of those as granted topics of conversation. Forgive me. I do have an answer to the blacksmith question. In fact, I do believe he just spoke with her.
Ah! Excellent. I thought she might have been joking. I'm very bad at picking up humor.
Well, we all have our strong suits. You do
True
seem
enough.
You do seem one for good conversation, though. I'd love to have you over for a meal sometime.
Quite. Well, I've had a beer, so I'm pretty buzzed right now.
Well, that'll only help to improve the conversation then.
Quite. Well, how about this then? I'll meet you back at your tent in the evening after I finish these boorish introductions and the like.
They are boorish indeed, and I wish you the best of luck with them.
Quite. Well, I'll tell my father that he met you. He'll be very proud. This has literally been my favorite conversation. All right, I'll see you soon.
So long, Sir Donald.
He strides off and waits in the queue until he is introduced. What would you like to do?
Oh, after my nice little conversation. Oh, I did want to. This is where we wound up having our technical difficulties last episode. I did want to see if the Boatwright household is in attendance, if there are any banners.
Yes,
Or am
the
I
Boatwrights are
recognized?
definitely. You would have spotted the banners probably on the way in, and you will notice Garon Boatwright, Lord Garon Boatwright, who is the the de facto leader of the household and trader. He has more rings on his fingers than you think is healthy. And he is sort of seated at a table, drinking and eating with his companions.
Cicero doesn't really feel the need to talk to him, but his presence is noted. Cicero makes a hasty exit out of the hall, since this is quite the uncomfortable place.
Yes, the reception has certainly been less than welcoming. Is there anywhere you want to go, or are you headed straight back to your sort of tent?
No, I think back to the tent is where he's going.
Okay, so meanwhile, Sir Cyril Price and Septim Birch have been in the tent. What have you guys been doing?
Kaylee's in the tent as well, correct?
Yeah, I think at this
Or
point
is she
she's sort of entering, yeah.
Cyril Price looks at Kaylee and says, "Ah, girl, you've arrived. Cicero was
I do have a
requesting
name,
your...
just so you know. Now you can go on now.
Very well,
Yes.
is noted. But Cicero was requesting your presence at the Great Hall.
Well, I just came from there, so I would assume perhaps our paths have
And
already
you have
crossed.
left him.
Has he, in this
see.
time, then come back and requested for me to go back again? But-
I had
was
heard
drinking that
word.
long? All right. Well, so then she's if she's got to go, then she kind of. All right, then I guess I go back then. If that's what it is. I don't want to leave him there, make a fool of himself in the hole. Sort of gathers
It is
herself
best
back
that
up
he is
after
not
getting
left there
comfy.
completely alone.
All right, I'll be back. She wanders out of the tent, leaving them alone.
Safe travels.
So you'll probably meet back up with Cicero in a minute. We'll get to that. But so Price and Septim Birch, are you guys doing anything in the meantime?
Septim, Cyril Price looks over at Septim Birch and says, "I can tell when someone has something on their mind. You've been watching me for quite a while as we have been making our travels here to the tournament. What is it that you wish to know, Septim Birch?"
Back at the tavern, you seem to balk at the idea or mere mention of your family. Now here we are, at a grand tournament, perhaps some of your relatives nearby, and you refuse to accompany the young lord who you best serve at his side into the hall itself. Is there something you are not telling us? Or something that may interfere with your duties? to Cicero.
You are a holy man, if it is to the best of my understanding.
Of course.
Tell me, Septim Birch, what is your first memory?
My first memory. Well, it would be running around with the other boys in the streets of King's Landing. Game of tag. Back when I could still run, move around as I pleased. No. Back when things were easier. Why do you ask this?
I see. I will tell you this in strict confidence. My first memory is from 2 years ago. I woke up on a battlefield, left for dead. Clad in armor, as looters began to pillage the corpses. I crawled my way through a watery bog to a tree, and began to remove my armor to tend to my wounds. I have no recollection of who I am. Emblazoned on the inside of my armor is the name Cyril Price. I am unaware if I am Cyril Price. But without any other information, I began to flee and make my way north. I very could well be Cyril Price, but I am unsure. Perhaps I am a mercenary, and I have picked up Cyril Price's armor through the course of battle. Perhaps I am a thug, and have killed Cyril Price. Perhaps this was lent to me, so I may fight for his banner. I am unsure. I may very well have a wife and child back at home. So I fled. And now hearing that Prices are here, there is a lot on the line for me. Obviously, I am of skill and of sword. I know tactics. I have training in a horse. But I cannot be sure I am who I am. So I will avoid meeting Prices at all costs. Do you understand, Septim Birch?
He kind of stares you in the eye with a very serious look. So this man I see before me, you built him in just 2 years' time.
My name, I do not recall. My training, my muscle memory, my tactics, I do. This is why I am so quiet in conversations. Should we delve into each other's pasts, I do not have a very deep pool of which to drain. I observe, and I do my duty. I have served the McNairs well in the last 2 years. But if I were to find out that I am Cyril Price by meeting whoever is in that hall, there could be great fortune that comes my way. However, if I discover I am not, I have everything to lose, potentially even my life.
He thinks about that for a moment, kind of looks around before returning a look to you. If Cyril Price is the man you choose to be now, I will accept you as Cyril Price. But let's say the truth is revealed. For the better. Perhaps you truly are him. Perhaps fortune and fame and family is waiting for you just to step away. If that is the case, would you step away from the McNairs? Would you give up on our young lord? To embrace that? Or are you here for him?
No, I would not balk at my duties. I have sworn my sword to the McNairs, and so it shall be. However, there is much on the line for me, Septim Birch. And I would rather continue my life as it has been going thus far than rock the boat, as it were.
Then I greet you again, Cyril Price of House McNair, And Septon Birch holds out just a hand to shake it and just kind of give this very sincere look of acceptance of what he is saying now.
Cyril looks at the hand. Instead of giving a handshake, he reaches into the forearm, shakes, and goes back to staring at his food.
And Septon Birch will look away and just side of his lip, the side not facing Cyril, just small little curl upwards into a grin.
So, we'll jump back with Haley. You run into Cicero. You see him just ahead of you as you are headed back to find him, and he's headed back to the tent. You guys sort of spot each other.
There you are. I thought I'd lost you. To all those in the lords and ladies of the hall. You had your fill of them.
I had my fill of them long before I even got here. I had the fortune of meeting someone who said he had the fortune of meeting you. He said it was literally the best thing that had happened to him today.
Is that what he said? Yes. Well, perhaps he's not experienced many wonderful things in his days.
I wouldn't downplay your skills. Where are you off to?
Well, I was told that you would come back to the tent and were looking for me. At least that's what Cyril said.
Cicero takes this into consideration, considering the conversation he's just had with supposedly Cyril's father. I think there may be some things that we have yet to find out about Sir Cyril. We have more important things to attend to now. We have a friend coming for dinner.
A friend? But who's joining us then?
Mutual friend of ours, Sir Donald Lee.
Oh, God.
Wouldn't hurt to have a person or two that we know in this tournament.
Well, I suppose it's not too bad considering he had, I think, one beer and was already spilling his loose lips to me.
Makes for good conversation.
I suppose so. Should we go back then, or have your eye on other things before we hit to the tent?
Oh, there isn't much of any interest to me outside of what just happened in that hole. Wait now for the tournament. It's the only thing to do. Try and have some fun while we're at it.
As if on cue. Oh my lord! Here you all are! And so Donald Lee is sort of foofing his way through the crowd towards the two of you and places a very over-familiar sort of like hand on both of your shoulders as he looks between you. Literally two of my favorite people. How are you both doing?
Oh, it's as if I haven't seen you in ages. How are you? Did you enjoy your time in the hole?
I certainly did. I had one of the best times that I've ever had. And now I'm here with some of the best people. So it really is a win-win.
Cicero, as soon as the hand touches his shoulder, starts to shrug it off. And is just steps back a little bit, but is smiling, seems homely, kind.
So, I heard something about food, and I'm ready to meet the rest of your fantastic friends.
Well, we'll see what we can find to eat, but till then, you're welcome to come back to the tent with us. We were just about to go there.
He like takes both of your shoulders and almost like leads you into the tent. The two of you, as you step inside, Cyril Price, Septon Birch is Squire Roynard's probably turned up at this point as well. Says, "My goodness. 2 more friends to meet. Sir Donald Lee, it is literally one of the best things to meet you. And he extends like an arm to clasp Sir Cyril Price and then Septon Birch.
Greetings. And he goes back down looking at his food.
He nods. Excellent. And who might you be?
Septon Birch, very nice to meet you. Of King's Landing, yes. And who is this young man? Cicero, who is this?
Yes, who is he, Cicero?
He is Sir Donald Lee. I believe he just gave you
Yes,
his
Sir
name
Donald Lee.
not too long ago.
Do you not remember Kaylee Tarbeck, our most enchanting conversation, just only an hour ago or so, when you and
Of course I
I...
remember. I just wanted to make sure that, Cicero remembered you.
Ah,
Testing his memory.
my heart was
Sorry.
about to be wounded beyond all repair.
Oh, goodness,
Would
I
have been
definitely would
bad.
want to wound you in any way or inebriate you in any way before the tournament. Of course not.
Quite. Well, it is an honor to meet you, Septon Birch. Literally one of my top 2 favorite religions. No.
It's a flash of hope in Septon's eyes for a second before he completely processes what was said and he's like, yes. Well met. Shaking his head, just also turning back.
Right. Well, I'm here to talk shop, to talk tactics, because my father said that I should come and speak with you, and he's a very clever man. And he said that I should meet this young McNair because he knows the old McNair, your father, and that he's a good person, and that we should chat and talk tactics. So, firstly, what are we going to be doing about this Kieran Glovelin? He's pretty damn good.
Does Cicero know this name?
You can roll me a status.
Let's see.
Does
Alright, so
Devin
that was a 6, 5,
know
and a
that
4, so
stuff
that's
is settling?
15.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Jem, what was that?
Oh, I was just going to see, is stuff sort of settling down, or is it picking up? Because if it's settling down, I might come back
I
as
think-
Devin.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So probably about this time, as things sort of quieting down a little bit, Devon, are you gonna just step back in?
Yeah, I'll just go back as Devin to the tent,
Cool.
where everybody is.
Alrighty. So Donald Lee turns. You have certainly heard, even just the rumors around here about Sir Kieran Glovelin. He's long blonde hair, whereas Sir Donald Lee is long dark hair. And similarly a champion of knightly values and virtues, the heartthrob of every maiden from here up to King's Landing. And so Donald turns as he sees Devon. And yet another compatriot to meet. Sir Donald Lee, it is a pleasure to meet you, young man.
How do you do, sir? Devin Vane.
I do excellently. Thank you very much for asking. I was just discussing the matter of this Sir Kieran Glovelin with your lord here, and what we're going to do about it.
Yes, I've heard that your joust is the one to watch. That you are quite the accomplished jouster, sir, and that he also is quite the accomplished jouster. And it is the most exciting event of the tournament.
It surely is the most exciting event. You can say that again.
Conducted with the utmost of integrity and sportsmanship, as all of these jousts should be.
Naturally.
As it is. Yes, sir.
Well, come on in, and he looks towards Cicero. What's it going to be?
Well,
What kind of lance do you carry? What kind of sword do you carry? What kind of horse do you have? Tell me everything there is to know about Cicero. I would love nothing more than to know you.
Cicero squints a little bit, but then grins and kind of takes the bait, and reaches and pulls out his sword from underneath his cape and kind of holds it out lengthwise and lets Sir Donald Lee examine it.
He
You wanna
takes
know
a look.
about-
Oh, my. Very fine indeed. Was this you? He looks towards Kaylee.
My father.
This is honestly one of the best blades that I have ever seen. So,
It's for jousting.
for jousting, obviously you have a horse and a lance. And if the horse is anything like this blade, I think I'm going to be very pleasantly surprised.
Cicero would like to think his own horse is pretty nice, so, but he's going to front especially hard for Donald Lee to try and persuade him that he's not one to be messed with. Hey,
Okay.
got a fine horse. See if I can pick up a lance somewhere around here, and, well, I'll be looking around for a shield as well.
Right. Well, you know what? Tomorrow, first thing, shopping trip. It's happening. We're going, all of us, and we're going to find the best shield and lance there ever has been made. Because there's nothing better that you'll need than the best. And you know what? I'll fit the bill if needs be. I make sure that you will have the very best, my lord.
You're very
Cyril,
generous.
Cyril stands up, turns around, finds the strongest alcohol that is in this tent, and pours an incredibly large glass. Walks over to this gentleman whose name he hasn't cared to remember, and gives it to him. A gift.
This is one of my favorite beverages. Thank you.
And
At,
Cyril Price
at
picks
this-
up a tankard and looks him in the eye and begins and cheers him and begins to drink and watches him. So he downs
Yeah, he-
it all.
He drinks it as well. Yeah, he's totally down for this.
And while he's drinking it, I'll very casually say to Cicero, by the way, my lord, the Trants are here. Lady Melanie is apparently still looking for a husband. And I watch to see if he reacts to that at all.
Yeah, he's sort of, oh, really? She's here? Oh, there's a dreadful amount of business going around with all of that. You see, thing with it was, and I'm sure you don't want to know the gory details of everything that happened, but there I was, heads down, gunning for it, 2 beers down, barely recognizing what I was doing. Turns out, it was her, this, Mallory Trent, and I was completely blacked out. And so was she, by all accounts.
And you do this often, do you?
Oh goodness, no, that hasn't happened since that happened. But it is quite the embarrassment for her, I have to say. So I make a point never to speak about it, literally ever, and tell nobody about it because it is quite embarrassing for all of them and their family.
Well, Cicero takes his hand and claps him on the shoulder. You're among friends, aren't you?
I would like to think so.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Oh,
Amazing.
your generosity is much appreciated, but I don't necessarily need the best lancer and the best shield. I just need something that's going to keep me on my horse and knock someone else off theirs. I'm gonna need to practice.
I won't have it. I won't have it. But practice is definitely something that I can help you with, young McNair. Now, tomorrow we'll go shopping for a shield and lance, and then we'll begin our practice together. You know, it's best in these situations for knights to team up, for us to have our heads in the game together, to share the tactics that we have, the information that we learn about the other knights here, so that we can best confront each other at the final. There is nothing in the world that I would love more than to tip my lance against yours in the final, and for our two lances to touch in the very final moment of confrontation, and for great honor to be brought to both of us.
Kaylee kind of leans and like nudges Cicero. Come on now, it's nothing wrong with making a friend. Nice little shopping day. Do you good?
Cicero very quickly sheaths his sword, and very well then. Tomorrow, come when you feel necessary, and we'll go on a shopping trip.
Amazing. Yeah. He smiles again, ridiculously pleased with how this is going. And it's around that time that you hear a sort of a shout from outside and the sounds of galloping hooves. And even our friend Sir Donald Lee looks somewhat surprised, and he says, "Oh, that must be them." And he turns to head out of the tent and see who's arriving.
Cicero looks to his companions and kind of nods his head towards the opening of the tent. Heads outside.
Cyril follows.
Follows.
I'll follow as well.
See a bit what's going on out there then? Kaylee follows.
Yes. You hear the galloping of hooves, and a large contingent of horses are entering into the area and heading up along the keep. Either side of the sort of dirt road which leads up to the keep, all of the peasants and population have stepped to the side and are sort of bowing their heads. Some of them even getting down onto like a knee in a sign of deference for this brigade that are entering in here. The red banner with the black figure of the flayed man denotes the Boltons have arrived. At their heads, you see their leader, Roose Bolton, Lord Roose Bolton of the Dreadfort. One of the most intimidating figures that you are likely to meet in the north. He wields with a iron fist and is not one to be trifled with by all accounts. He wears a long cloak behind him, has short curly hair, and the same ice blue eyes and pallid, dispassionate look upon his face as that you've seen upon Michael Blackwood. Now, Michael actually rides in this contingent as well, the honorary sort of welcoming party leading Lord Bolton up. They seem to be in conversation to one another as he is at his side. Clearly, the two are fairly close. And you'll watch as about 50 horsemen enter into this area. And the grounds fall silent as they do so and ride their way up to the keep. There's a awkward silence for, maybe 10 seconds or so before people decide again that it's safe to start drinking and enjoying themselves. And you watch as the portcullis to the keep is shut, and it looks like there are no other entrants into the keep tonight. Why? That is quite the entrance, wouldn't you say? That is literally one of the scariest entrances that I've ever seen.
Reputation like his, he's deserving of it.
True enough. Those Boltons, they are not ones to fight with honor, not like you and I.
Hey.
Well, all the more glory for us when we are in the finals. With Lord Bolton watching on. May even catch his eye. That'd be grand.
Cicero looks to him again. Says, "You want to have glory, better stay focused on keeping your life first. Boltons aren't the only ones who don't fight with honor around here." Just with that, turns and walks back into the tent.
That is very mysterious. He looks towards the others and like lets himself back into the tent as though he's been welcomed back inside. I should
Kaylee
see.
Kaylee kind of lingers, looking at like the entourage of people coming in, like, and steps back into the tent.
Devrin immediately goes back into the tent, and Devrin also will go straight over to Cicero and relay all of the information that he has learned about the Pomminghams, and that bit of rumor that they're supplying them, that there's some sort of allyship, so not to trust anyone that they're working with.
Are you going to say this in front of Sir Donald Lee, or are you doing that privately?
No, I thought he was still outside.
Yeah, you can definitely go in
Oh,
before
okay.
him. He'll head out after. He'll head in after you had that conversation, and put his hands on his hips. Why? Well, if there are others not fighting with honor here, I would know it. I don't like the sound of that. You know, cheating and whatnot, banditry. I've heard it's rife up here.
How many tournaments have you competed in?
I have competed in literally none.
I see. Cyril
have
walks
watched.
back into the tent.
I have watched 12.
Cyril just keeps walking. It doesn't stop him.
And I have watched my mother birth 4 children. It does not mean that I have birthed one myself.
Very well said. Very well said. That is exactly my point. Well, I will see you all on the morrow then, if there is work to be done. Shopping, training, whatever more we can come up with. Keep your ear to the ground. If you hear about any other knights, then let me know. And I'll do the same as well. Oh, and if you see that Mallory Trent around, tell her I'm not here.
And I hope your evening continues to be even more enchanting. And
I literally do not believe that it could possibly be any better than it already has been.
well, the night is still young.
That is true. It is one of the youngest nights there has ever been. Well, I will see you on the morrow then, my friends, and very much enjoyed this. And he slaps Cicero, on the shoulders one last time, very overly familiar, and heads out of the tent.
Well, isn't he charming?
Squire Roynan is like, he seems like a really good knight.
He seems like an idiot.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's
I
what I was
didn't
trying
well.
to say.
Cicero readjusts his cape on his left shoulder and says, "I'm one to agree with Sir Cyril on this one."
He seemed nice.
At first he seemed like a spy, but he showed many cards. He is either the greatest spy who has ever spied, or an imbecile who will die in his first tournament.
He may be an idiot, but he's one of the only allies we have here. It's
I
not
wouldn't count
much,
him
but
as- I wouldn't count him as an ally yet, Septon. Because someone pledges their allegiance to you. Tent surrounded by 5 people. Offers to buy you something. Best lance he can buy. Money doesn't prove anything to me. I'll still be wary of him. Cicero
Wise words,
seems
young lord.
Cicero seems pretty upset. Mainly to the shift has happened since the arrival of the Boltons.
Kaylee
You'll
stands-
actually.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna. No, go ahead. It's okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, as the mood darkens, it's definitely darkening outside as well. If you were to go back into the bars and let it, people are less ready to party and they don't want to get so drunk as that they might commit crimes because they know that Lord Bolton, while in residence, is the acting authority. So basically, he is the law now.
Right. Kaylee stands and goes and fiddles around. Have we got anything to drink in here? Thought I could use something to drink after that. Looks at Cyril after he was the one that poured a drink prior.
Devin walks over to the bar area and picks up the bottle, tips it over. It's totally empty.
Gods.
I thought it would be best to disarm him and make him hung over for the morning so we did not have to go shopping.
Man, it seems that we had similar ideas, just at different times. Before I came back here, I'd had a beer with him. His rambles.
But now we at least know he takes to drink like a fish. Not that we would exploit that or anything.
Of course, no.
We
Oh.
should
Yeah, he does not
exploit
seem to
that.
lose his
Well-
faculties.
He was quite
He had many to begin with.
quick with tongue, even after downing such a strong drink. There is a chance this was an act. Remember, during a tournament, it is only you and your opponent. That is all that matters. You are your own team. So, if you are going to best him and, as he put it, touch lances, make sure you drive yours through his chest.
Cicero's head drops, and he just shakes it gently and then kind of rubs his eyes and says, I think it's time we be getting some sleep. His day might have been fantastic, but mine's been a bit tiring.
Agreed. Cyril stands up, goes to where his bedroll is, and just immediately lies down.
Okay, Squire Ryan is like, I'm going to head out and fetch some supplies and drinks and food and things that we will need for morning. I'll see you all in a bit.
Have discipline. We might need you as aware as possible in the morning.
He like beams at the idea of someone needing him. Yes, absolutely. And he like
Good
heads
man.
off with an extra bit of pep in his step.
Kaylee goes in and rummages a bit through trying to find something of a drink before giving up and crawling to her bedroll for the night.
Yeah, the Septon is not long before he follows suit and lays his head to rest.
You've got your two
Devrin.
guards who can stay on watch, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Devrin is not going to sleep well here. So, I'll be up. I'm happy to help stand watch. There's not much sleep that's going to happen for me here.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you guys rest, you kind of stay up for the course of the night, Devon. You hear, the sort of party going on outside. It dies down a little bit and quietens out as it reaches later. Squire Royner doesn't immediately return. However, after several hours, you will hear the clanking of mailed boots and armor trudging towards your tent with quite a lot of intent in the steps, you reckon you hear about 2 people approaching the tent.
I will immediately wake up whoever's closest.
Who do you think that would be?
I probably would stay near Cicero, and then I would assume that Sir Cyril probably would be close to the door, right?
Okay. Cyril and Cicero, you're sort of immediately jumped up from.
Yeah, when you reach to touch Cicero, he's already tense, and it seems like he hasn't been sleeping much either. His hand is on his sword, and he's sat up.
Sir Cyril stands up and walks out of the tent to see what the noise is.
Yeah, one of them calls out and says, "Lord Cicero McNair."
Who asks?
Yeah, you step outside and you see 2 of Lord Bolton's men. They are wearing the sort of red cloaks of House Bolton, and they do not look like they are too pleased to see you at this hour. "We're here to find the Lord.
Is there
He's
a
wanted.
message? He's
Yeah.
wanted.
Lord Bolton wants to know if this poacher we caught is really his man."
Poacher, you say? We are
The kid
a
blathered about Sir Cyril and Lord McNair.
I am Sir Cyril. Where is this boy you speak of?
Oh, he's up at the keep, isn't he? But Lord Bolton wants Lord McNair to grace us with his presence.
Can Cicero
course.
hear any of this from inside the tent?
I think at this point
as soon-
everyone's getting woken up. They are like shouting.
As soon as it is definite that he needs to be seen, he steps outside behind Lord Cyril. Sir Cyril.
Allow me
Lord
to
Bolton.
introduce Cicero.
Lord Bolton requests my presence.
Yeah. Yeah, he wants to ask you a few questions, about how many poachers it is you keep in your retinue and that kind of thing.
Our lands may not be as prosperous as yours, but we do not shelter or foster poachers.
That is good to hear, my lord. In that case, why don't you and yours come with us? And we can do all this all quick like and go back to sleep.
Very well.
Yeah, and then.
Cicero, as he stands there, he is speaking to them but refuses to look them in the eye, and it's pretty clear that he's not comfortable at whatsoever. But he follows.
Is everyone getting up and coming with him?
Yeah,
He's not going there alone. Absolutely not.
Kaylee definitely stumbles out of the tent and sort of like catches herself up to fall and pace behind him.
Mm-hmm. Captain Birch as well. Looking a bit tense. A lot tense.
Cyril stays beside Cicero.
So, the 2 of Bolton's men lead their way up towards the keep. The portcullis has been raised and shuts behind you with a thud as you guys enter behind it. Now, you get back into the Blackwood sort of hall itself. Inside, as you step through the large oaken doors, the makeup of the room is a lot different. All of the the tables for the guests have been cleared out, and instead of being seated Lord Ulrich, it is Lord Roose Bolton who is seated at the sort of throne chair. Lord Ulrich is by his side. Michael Blackwood is there, and Michael, in one fisted hand, has Squire Roynard, who is in tears, and sort of on his knees in front of Michael. There is a pelt on the floor, which looks to be like a deer's pelt, which looks like it's been like freshly like hacked. And the squire's hands are sort of covered in the blood of the deer, and he's like crying and looks up with a sniffle as he sees you guys enter. Surrounding the room are the rest of the Bolton guard force. And the two soldiers, "Here they are, my lord. Lord Cicero McNair is admitted to not wishing to foster any poachers in his company, so sure this one will be nice and quick for you." And he does like a fake curtsy, and this sort of captain steps back to block off the doorway as you guys step through.
Cicero
Bolton
walks,
doesn't seem to be saying anything.
he walks to just before the deer pelt and kneels and bows his head. "Lord Bolton?" As he looks up, "What crimes is this boy accused of?"
Michael actually speaks. Oh, well, amongst the crimes
Cicero
of being...
holds his hand up, cuts him off. "I believe I was addressing Lord Bolton."
He like stops and looks towards Bolton, who just nods back to Michael as if to proceed. As I was saying, among the crimes of being a filthy little weasel like the rest of you McNairs, he has slain and attempted to steal the property of my lord and father, Blackwood, and tried to make away with this pelt. We managed to catch him in time, no, don't worry. And Squire Roynard's like, through the tears and the sniffles, it's like, "I promise you, my lord, I didn't do this. I didn't at all." And he slaps him down with his gauntleted fist. And the boy just like falls down onto the ground, crying even more. He's going to have probably a broken nose from that.
Cicero examines the deer hide, trying to stay calm. Looks back to Sir Cyril. "How long has this boy been under your training?"
He's been under my training all of 2 years. He would not poach an animal. He knows better.
Has he known to poach one? Have you ever taught him to poach one?
I have taught him not to poach.
And boy, you think yourself skilled enough with a knife to do this to an animal?
He miserably shakes his head, fearing speaking again.
Cicero, seemingly still ignoring Michael, turns his face back to Lord Bolton. "You have the word of a landed knight. You have my faith as a lord. And you have the cries of an innocent boy. I doubt it's even within his power to draw blood from a single living being."
He looks at you dispassionately and then down to the boy. And Lord Roose Bolton says, "And yet I have the word of your accuser. Equally as honorable, wouldn't you say? And several of the guards who saw the same thing. Now, I do not know you, Lord McNair, but I do know my soldiers. And I know young Michael here, and we are within his hall. Now, whether or not this boy is able to do this, does not really matter. I will be lenient, as per your request. After all, I'm only here for a little while, and I've just arrived. This is very tiresome. Take a hand. And Michael grins. Yes, my lord. Unless, of course, Lord McNair wishes to challenge my accusation.
Cicero visibly winces at the judgment that's been delivered upon the boy. Why don't we let the tournament decide? I will face you in a joust. First person to fall from their horse decides the fate of the boy.
You can roll me a persuasion. That's good. Oh, that was almost a 5.
Oh, man. Oh, alright, so that's 9.
You're looking for 10.
Can you use any of the inspiration?
Should I,
You
yeah,
have
am I able to use
something
one?
else you can use? What are your anatomies?
Yeah.
So generally, what I like to do is we like to call the use of the roll of the donation
Gotcha.
first. But seeing as it's our first time, we can hand wave that.
Okay.
So let's say these 20s turn any roll into like a 6, like an automatic success, highest possible outcome on the roll. So that would bring you up to like a 14.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bolton, Michael is like already starting to shake his head, but Bolton like holds up a singular finger and says, "This idea amuses me. That this lord would fight for not even his squire so valiantly. But if we are to do this, and if I am to withhold my punishment in the eyes of the gods, that is not a thing to be done lightly. Then we would have to raise the stakes. The boy's life will hinge on the outcome. And I will make sure that in the listings, the two of you are first to engage one another in the joust. Can we both agree upon that, at least?" Michael nods confidently. "Oh, there is nothing I would love more, my lord."
Yeah, Cicero, through clenched teeth, just says, "Most gracious, my lord."
It is a pleasure to meet you. In the meantime, the boy will be held in cells for safekeeping. Two of his men start to drag him away. The same two that brought you in. Is there anything else, my lord?
If that concludes our business with you, and I have no other topic to broach.
Well, have a good night's sleep then.
You do the same. Cicero turns to leave and shoots Michael the look that would have killed an army before he turns to leave, before he turns towards the door.
He is all smiles.
I'm sure he is.
The group of you are shown out and stand outside of Blackwood Hall.
Devon goes to put his hand on your shoulder, Cicero, and you realize that his palms are bleeding from digging his fingernails into them, and he puts his hands back.
Yeah, Cicero is pretty much silent as he begins walking back toward the tent.
Haley's kind of like decently.
Thank you, Dave.
Kaylee's decently like intimidated because she's never really been put into situations like this too much yet, and just kind of like lightly sort of starts to follow suit back to the tent, not really sure how to react or what to say.
The Bolton's men, watch you as you leave from the keep and re-enter into your tent.
As they reach the tent, Cicero makes his strides shorter to fall back and walk beside Sir Cyril. Do you love the boy?
He is a very loyal squire. He would not hurt a fly unless it were in combat, in which he is not exactly skilled enough to kill, man nor beast. It was an interesting decision you made, to challenge him, of all people, to have the boy's life on his line. I myself would have asked for a duel at that very moment. However, you will have to show yourself as strong. You will have to ride fast, strike hard. He must be dismounted.
I shall do my best. Seems that Sir Donald might be of assistance to us in practice. But I hope that you can understand my reluctance to shed the Blackwood's blood in their own halls.
True. But you do know the joust will not be an even contest. The boy is surely nearly as good as dead.
And we'll just have to spread news of his capture.
Perhaps it's
Think it
better to be a
best.
bit more positive about this.
I agree with Kaylee, but I think it's best if everyone knows the stakes. Might hold our lords to their own word.
We'll see. Between you and I would rather Michael never make the list.
Cicero solemnly nods, and realizing where this conversation is going, gives Sir Cyril a pat on the shoulder, and walks back into the tent, and back to where he was laying before.
Any other conversations had tonight?
So Cyril just sits by a fire.
Devon sharpens his blade.
Okay. So, night falls again, and it's suddenly a disturbing night's sleep. Probably not one which any of you really come to enjoy. But the morning comes eventually, and rosy-fingered dawn finds her way upon Blackwood Hall. And as the sounds of people beginning to mill about once again, getting ready for the competition, which starts now in just a few days' time. As you guys are awakening at the crack of dawn, you hear a call. Lord Cicero! Lord Cicero! I don't want to enter in case you're all naked, but I would love to speak with you all.
Lords.
I've heard the news, my lord. I've heard the tragic news. I'm still here.
Cicero kind of stumbling out of bed, didn't necessarily undress last night, is still in the same clothes as before, just kind of reaches down and straightens his doublet and walks toward the opening of the tent.
Really do love to get an early start, don't you?
There is nothing I love more than getting an early start on the day, my lord. It's good to see you again. Sir Donald Lee, in case you forgot.
I don't see how I could forget. It's good to see you again, Sir Donald.
Those words warm my heart beyond belief. But I have heard the news, young lord. I heard of the events that shook down last night while I was resting. Nay, in the darkest of night, I heard that there was a great mischief done, and that a squire by the name of Royce has been arrested, and that you have... Right, like I said, Royce, and he has been...
Roiner.
Right. I don't know what that word means that he's saying to me. Yes, oh! Roynard Royce. A good name for Squire, but I heard that you have challenged this Michael Blackwood to the joust, and if word is to be believed, that Lord Bolton has seen to the listings that you will be first against each other.
Yes, which makes your help all the more welcome. Been looking forward to our shopping trip all night.
I'm sure that you have. I have as well. I've come up with a list of the best places for us to go, and indeed the best things that we will need. My goodness. Now, goodness. So this boy then, he did not do this deed?
No,
Yes,
he was
my
innocent.
It's my total confidence that he did not do this.
By the gods. Well then, if a mischief has been done unto him, we must undo said mischief with honor and chivalry. Well, seeing as there's no duel to get ready for, a trial by 7, then, well, we best get all of your things and train you for the coming days.
Cicero nods and motions for him to lead the way towards the market. And as Sir Donald walks toward it, he just turns to... Who all is outside the tent at this point? Who all's going with him?
I am. I'm not leaving you alone here. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I'm following along for the time being, at least, just to see where the group's going to be at and kind of get a lay of the land.
Cyril was already outside, but he'll follow.
He likes a good shopping trip.
Alrighty then.
Cicero turns to everyone then and just says, "We hold our home," and walks after Sir Donald.
Those your house words. My, they are honestly some of the best words I have ever heard.
Cicero turns, reluctant that Sir Donald has heard this, but trying to keep the conversation going, says, "Yes, and what might your house words be, Sir Donald?"
They are literally some of my favorite words as well. Now, us Lees, our house words are, in honor, there is honor. In chivalry, there is chivalry. And in great deeds, there is all of the above. That's a condensed version. I never really learnt it fully. My father was very withholding. But, shopping! Shields, lances, axes, Morning stars, maces, daggers, new boots, cloaks, coats, tents, horses, apples, everything in between. Let's go.
Cicero trudges through with about an interest in 3 of the things that he just mentioned.
Yes, he lists off a seemingly random list of objects, but appears to be shopping for all of them. So you guys probably spend most of the morning going around and buying this equipment, some of which is apparently for him and some of it for you, but he insists on buying at least one of everything for you as well.
At some point during that shopping spree, Birch will mention to Kaylee, just, Miss Kaylee, do not let that man buy a single shield or weapon for the young lord without you first inspecting it. Please, we need your eye here.
Of course not. Just let him stumbling around with something not up to my or my father's standards. Not that perhaps I'll even use them after we leave this place. It's a bit of a souvenir. Keep my eye on him. Right?
So you can inspect all of the equipment that Sir Donald Lee is looking to buy for Cicero, and a lot of it is way out of price range, right? This is Castle Forge, the best that you could get. No dents, not previously used, made to order for your size and your shape and whatever. And Sir Donald clearly has a fair bit of wealth to throw around, judging purely by the size of his coin purse and the amount that he seems willing to spend. So he's taking you to basically the finest tailors around. It's the equivalent of getting a really nice suit nowadays, I suppose. It's getting a really good suit of armor. He's like, now, that thing that you're wearing there is nice in its own way, but on another level, it's not. And I think that we could do something a little bit better than that. So let's meet my man here. And he introduces him to you. He will make you the finest set of armor one could possibly hope to wear, not unlike my own. And his is gleaming, silvery, shiny. The sun is reflecting off it. You can see your own face in it, that kind of thing. And I think a suit like this would probably do you well. What do you say?
Cicero just turns, almost coming out of a daze from the amount of stuff that has been happening all day, and just kind of at the idea of a proper suit of armor, starts to nod vigorously and just, yes, I think that'd be a very, very pleasant gift. Thank you. Kaylee, would you mind coming to see this?
You want me to watch your fitting?
There is nothing I would love more than for you to watch his fitting.
Cyril puts his hand on Cicero's shoulder and says, all gifts come with a price.
Cicero just nods, gives Sir Cyril a look. He is concerned about what that price may be. He's just going along with it at this point.
Why don't, while you're getting suited up, me and our kind host for the morning take a bit of a walk ourselves around the camp?
Yes, I would love that.
Yes.
Let us do that. While you get changed here and get fitted and whatnot, measurements, boring things, myself and the enchanting Kaylee Tarbeck will journey forth on an adventure of our own.
Okay, and Kaylee sort of starts to lead him out.
He extends his arm for you to link, and he's super happy to be strolling around pretty aimlessly with you. Septon Birch, it's you notice something strange. In one of your pockets, there's something heavy that wasn't there before.
I think he maybe just moves in a certain way that he can feel the robe move and then clink back against him, and just looks confused for a second before closing his eyes, just a bit of frustration on his face. Kind of looking at the rest of the group. Kaylee seems to be preoccupied. Cicero seems excited about his armor. It looks like Cyril and Devon are kind of helping out, or maybe not, but he kind of hopes to wait for a distracted moment before he reaches into that pocket and sees the cause of the wait.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that there is a moment of where you can like steal away and look to yourself. I assume that the Septon isn't someone that the rest of you are often looking at, just because of who he is, quite an unassuming old guy who's sort of here just to help Cicero. So you can like steal away for a moment. You got these, your long sort of robes of a Septon on you, and it is a small stone. Which has been carved into the shape of the mother statue, very similarly to the one that you found before on a crossroad. And attached to it, there is a note, a little bit of piece of parchment, which reads, "The Fox and Fiddle tonight, back room. Come alone."
He looks down at it, reads it quickly, just long enough to get every word from it before rolling it back up and putting it down, or at least the scroll. But he does take a moment to examine the stone. You said it was just something reminiscent of the mother and the statuette I found last
carved,
night.
Yeah, it's a little bit more simple because it's small, probably about yay big. But it's been carved out of stone pretty well.
Okay. He put the stone back in his pocket as well and returned to the rest of the group. Again, just beads of sweat starting to emerge on his forehead and roll down, hoping to like kind of look nonchalant and as if nothing has happened, but he's definitely a little bit more antsy and on his toes than he was before. And he's almost just like wandering back in, maybe waiting for a conversation to be happening before just, yes, like pretending he has been listening and just agreeing with whatever's been discussed.
Okay. So Kaylee, you walk with Sir Donald Lee. Is there anything in particular that you're like trying to bring up in conversation?
A few things.
Okay.
All right. So as they walk, Kaylee's gonna be very like just putting her sweets on. She's very curious about sort of what's going on to be this just kind for no reason. As I guess someone that like, while she's the daughter of a blacksmith, she hasn't known like just an abundantly large amount of kindness or seen just lavishly giving out things as it is. So do you have many friends? Do you?
Oh goodness, no. Well, I try here and there and whatnot, but many people find me oafish.
Really? Why do you think that?
I think it might be because of the person that I am. Young Kaylee Tarbeck. I like to see the positives in the world, I always see the best case scenarios of things, but there are many people in this world that find themselves looking towards the more negative side of things. And for them, I grow tiresome after a while.
Of course.
This is all
People
according to
really
my
want
father.
something like that. Oh. So do you not form any of your own opinions if they're all coming from your father?
I try not to. My father says it could be dangerous.
Well, you are grown now. You're up there in age, perhaps you're not married yet, but there's nothing wrong with thinking for yourself from time to time. But
true, but my heart has often got me into more trouble than I would want, and certainly more than my father would ever want.
Is that so? Find
Oh
yourself
yes, sir.
chasing dreams that often...
Oh, quite well, I'm here, aren't I? Here to catch a dream, to become a knight. A true knight who wins a tournament. And, truth be told, well, I've rather been run out from home after the latest scandal.
With the Melanie, is it? Trent.
Oh, no.
lady.
No. That was another time. More a scandal for her more than it was for me, I have to say. But no, she was a serving girl. Yes, back at home. My father's hall.
Well, I suppose you and your father share many things. Seems to each their own. I'm not in a place to judge anyone of what they like to take for their lovers.
Ah, true. But we were in love. Yes, for a time at least. But then, I'm afraid to say that my father sent her far away when he learned of my indiscretions and my intentions, of course, to wed her.
Unfortunate.
Yes, I hit quite a self-destructive streak with the alcohol, and the whole Mallory situation happened. But now I'm here to
Perhaps,
reinvent myself.
Reinvent
Fresh
yourself,
start.
I see. So you've been run off by your father, but you have quite a weight of coin in your purse.
Oh, well, I suppose that is true, yes. We are very rich.
It'd be smart, would it not, if you were run off from your home to not just spend it so frivolously, but if you are run out.
It is not a frivolous thing to form a friendship with a fellow knight.
I suppose.
Well, if this goes well, then Lord Cicero and I will be at his wedding, he will be at mine, and our families will be together for centuries.
It's a really kind way to look at things. True friendship. You seem like quite a pleasant man then. You know, it could come off a bit, worrisome for someone that hasn't quite got to know a fellow to spend so lavishly on them, but you, much of a trusting person though, it seems.
I suppose that is true, yes. I do trust almost everyone.
So how long has it been since you spoke to your father?
Oh, several months now, yes. Last I told him I was off here. He's remaining back at home, though his health has not been the best.
I see. Oh goodness, well, I'm sure we should get back before they've got Cicero tied up in strings. What you say?
Yes, indeed. And what is the nature of your relationship with the handsome young Lord McNair?
Friends, of course. I mean, my father worked for, and she seems to be like slightly nervous, like talking to this. My father, works for the Lord there. I help out with it, and sort of childhood friends, as it were. Yes.
I see. Well, then I am pleased for your friendship. There is nothing I love more than seeing people who care about one another.
Of course. Can't think of many more great things than that, and caring for someone.
Quite indeed. Though I have to say I have picked up on something. An undercurrent, if you will. This whole situation with the boy weighs heavily upon Cicero's mind. Do you think there is something that I could do to help him? Aside from training, of course. I worry for him.
Well, I'm not sure advice from you would benefit too much. No offense intended, of course. But you are, quite the friendly person. Perhaps it would aid all of our minds if we could have a bit more information of, discreetly, how they really came to find the boy. He's nice. Because if they truly were, telling their tales, or perhaps their tales are falsely intended.
Intrigue! I feel as though I am at King's Landing. Very well. I will set about asking around. A few of my father's friends are here, and they know a lot more than I do. You know what? I know just a place. I'll go there tonight.
Just discreetly, of course. I don't want you to have any trouble of your own. It would
I am literally
break my heart
the
to
most
see you in pain.
discreet person.
Drags a little bit every words. Well, I think let's just definitely try to get ourselves back. I think we've made the loop around this market 3 times now.
Yeah, You circle back around. Cicero's like been fitted in the armor. It's still got like adjustments to be made, but it's pretty much there. And Donald says, "Ah, you look fine in that suit, Lord McNair."
Many thanks to you, Sir Donald. Cicero seems like a bit... He's getting used to the armor, but he's definitely been uncomfortable with the fitting.
And Cicero, you
Yeah,
look
he says,
quite the man now. All dappered up.
As long as it keeps a sword or lance from going through me.
he like slaps your chest with where like the breastplate is, and just sort of like rubs the breastplate a little bit. This is very fine. Nothing is going to penetrate you, my friend. You're not. Now, shall we off to the training fields? I think we should test our lances, no?
I think that's a fine idea.
Sir Donald, where does you know where the stables are? Blackwoods.
Oh, yes, all the horses and whatnot, yes, of course. Would you like me to show you?
Oh, that would be wonderful. I should like to check on horses and make sure they're being properly cared for, since the squire is not here to do so.
Very well. Good point. Come along. Devon, wasn't it?
It is. Yes, sir.
All right, then. And he leads you off to the stables. What are the rest of you guys doing?
So as they're going out, as if Cicero, you finished here, want to go? We can walk together to the training fields.
Yes, better go round up the horses and try and get ready. Honestly, I have no idea what the first thing about Charleston should be. The horse skills are pretty good, though.
Well, you've made lots of promises, so come on,
Aye.
let's go and get yourself ready. She sort of like tugs at him a little bit along to pull ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, he follows, and he's kind of repositioned his cape over the armor.
Sir Cyril
Sir-
follows shortly
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah, Birch is coming with too, but keeping an eye out for the fox and the fiddle. Is that what it was called earlier?
Yes.
Just to see if he can kind of spot this place. He would really rather prefer not to ask anybody about it, but if he can't spot it on the way, he will at some point be asking the location of this place.
Yeah. You actually probably will be able to spot it on your way down to the training fields. It's on the lower, like half of the castle, the town, and it's sort of like a back alley type deal.
Okay, so it
It's not
seems just
like-
kind of like a small, kind of grody,
Small,
disreputable
grungy
bar.
grungy little tavern. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So you guys head down to the training fields. Presumably, there is a fair amount of training which is about to begin, with Cicero instructing Cicero in like swordsmanship, presumably riding the horse, lances, that kind of thing. Meanwhile, Devon and Sir Donald Lee go to the stables. He shows you to the very large stables. It is mostly now being horsed by the Bolton horses. Several of their men are sort of milling around the area as well. Here we go.
So I want to notice a few things while I'm here. I want to notice what the kind of uniform or wardrobe of the stable boys is. I want to pay attention to the layout and where the finest of the horses are being held, and if there's any sort of guard around them, anything like that. And then I just want to check in on our horses and make sure everything is looking good there.
Yeah, you take a sort of like a scour around the place. The finest horses are guarded. The stables itself is guarded just from like horse thieves and or people looking to, perform any sort of mischief in the jousts. So Bolton or Blackwood guards are always on rotation in and around the stables. And of course, there's like the stable master and a couple of stable boys who are around at any given time who might be able to spot something. But Sir Donald, his presence is basically enough to let you in. They will recognize him and even sort of like, defer to him somewhat.
Okay. Good to know. And where are the hay bales?
The hay bales are probably kept like stored separately in like an adjacent building or small type warehouse, and then out the back of the stables as well, where the boys sort of like drag out the bales to feed the horses.
Okay. Good to know. I'm going to note all of those things, check in on our horses, and then head back to where everyone else is.
Okay. So
also,
we
I'll listen
find
for the stable master's name, just in case I happen to hear that come up.
His name is... Where it is, down somewhere. Yes. His name is Alfred, with an extra E rather than the normal Alfred. I put it in there. Fancy grounds for you there.
Okay.
And he's an older gentleman.
Okay.
Okay, so we rejoin the group outside of the town itself, away from the crowds, and on the training field, where many other knights are jousting and practicing. There's basically a field which has been like curated by the Blackwoods, which has, like dummies, training swords, training lances, basically whatever you would need to practice. And there is a small crowd of peasants who are here to watch, although they're far enough away behind a picketed fence so that they're not allowed to like get too close. So there's a little bit of privacy where it's just the rest of the knights. You see probably about 10 or 12 of them currently training at this time as well. And Devon and Sir Donald Lee return. He's probably brought his horse back down with him as well, actually, so that he can joust with Cicero. And is like, right then, what shall it be, my lord? The joust? The belly?
Let's start with the joust first. I feel I'll need the most practice in that.
All right. Get out my big book of jousting. So, let's see. The cool thing about this is in the Song of Ice and Fire rulebook that we're using to play, they have rules for tournaments and jousting and how this works. So it's nice and fun. And I'm sure Sir Cyril is probably the one instructing this because Donald Lee is fairly new at this as well. So likely there is a certain amount of instruction and training and practice before anything really happens. So the way that this works in mechanics-wise for a joust is that first of all, you do not roll for initiative. Lances are considered to strike at the same time. So basically both your opponent and yourself, we both roll dice and we see what happens based on how well we roll. The attack. So the two jousting combatants make simultaneous fighting tests as a regular bonus. And bonus dice from spears apply. So if you have any specialities in spears, which I don't think Cicero does, you get bonus dice for the joust. Since a jousting attack is by definition a charge, both attackers take a -1 dice on their fighting tests. However, you get to choose maneuvers as you go into the joust that you would like to take. So like defensive, braced, aggressive, we'll get into those in a second. So you both roll fighting, any bonuses and spears, and -1 dice from the main fighting pool. The difficulty for the test is your opponent's passive animal handling test result. And if you have any bonuses in ride, which again, I'll check for you, Cicero. Not the wrong one. Actually, I don't think I have your sheet in there. But if you have any bonuses to rise, then this counts as well.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, you both roll fighting, -1 dice, and you're trying to hit whatever their animal handling check is, well, their passive animal handling, which is their animal handling score times by 3. So if you have a 2 in animal handling, it's 6, whatever. So you then get to choose a stance. So there are, let's see, 5 stances that you test with. The first of which is aggressive. Okay, so you focus on the ferocity of your attack. You apply a bonus of +1 or +2, you choose, to the result of your fighting test. So whatever you roll in your fighting test, you're going to get to decide a +1 or a 1/2. However, you subtract the same amount from your passive animal handling test. So if you were to say, I want +2 to my fight, you get -2 to your animal handling, meaning that you're easier to hit as well. So while you're more likely going to hit them, vice versa. The braced is that you subtract 1 or 2, again, your choice, from the result of your fighting test, and you add the same amount to your animal handling. So it means that you're harder to hit, but you're less likely to hit as well. You then can choose defensive as well, it's the third choice, which is to apply a bonus of +1 or +2 to the results of your passive animal handling test to determine the difficulty for your opponent to hit you, and subtract the same amount from the result of your fighting test. That one's pretty similar to the braced one, really, actually. But there you go. This one of the most interesting ones, eyes fixed. So a knight normally turns his head away, as famously in A Knight's Tale. He turns his head away, but William! He keeps his eyes locked or whatever. You can choose to fix your eyes on your opponent. You apply a +1 bonus to the result of your fighting test. However, you increase the base damage of your opponent's attack by 1 point. If your opponent defeats you, he can choose severe consequences, such as death or maiming. So you could lose an eye by doing this maneuver, but it gives you a big bonus to your fighting test. And then last one is high in the saddle, which gives you a slight advantage in height and momentum, but makes it more difficult for you to keep in your seat if you are struck. You apply a +1 or +2 bonus, your choice, to fighting test, and subtract the same amount from the result of your animal handling test to remain in the saddle if you are struck. So that's the first bit is you decide what stance to take. The second is we both roll at the same time. Depending on what we roll, you may get hit, and then you have to make a defensive roll to stay in your saddle or to not be maimed or killed by the lance, basically. So it's a little bit complex, but it makes it a little bit better than just rolling a couple of dice and just seeing what happens, as I've typically done before in D&D. So once you roll, we see the jousting results, and we get a jousting result table for this. So the base damage of a tourney lance, which is done to a person when you are hit by a lance, is animal handling +3 is the base damage. And it's a powerful weapon which adds +1 damage per rank of strength speciality that the wielder has. So if someone's really beefy and strong, then you're going to be looking at a blow that would likely kill you, which is why you need to be wearing really good armor for this. Since a tilt with lances involves a charge, the lance does an additional +2 base damage. So if you're animal handling this, let's say animal handling is 3, you're doing 6, 8 damage, and you've probably got 8 health or something like that. So that's a killing blow, and that's on a standard hit. Okay, that's a standard hit. However, this game has degrees of success, which I won't overwhelm you with now. But basically, you can do up to 3 times that amount if you were to get a really good hit. So if someone rolls really well, they would be doing up to 24 points of damage to you, which is basically burn a fate point or die. Which is why their mechanics are there to make it harder for you to be hit if you so choose. So if you know that you wouldn't survive a really good lance hit, then you can play towards your strengths of being more defensive or avoiding blows. But similarly, you could play it even stronger and say, listen, I want to dismount this guy as soon as possible, so I'm going to go into the aggressive stance, hoping that you could dismount, kill whatever the opposing knight before they can dismount. The jousting result table is fun. Basically, we look at what the roll is, and depending on how many degrees of success you may be unhorsed, the horse may be even killed, or it may shatter on your shield and you'll be perfectly fine. So there's a couple of things, I guess, in the roleplay to be considering there. Now that I've divulged a ton of information about the game. Really, it comes down to what Cicero Price and what Cicero think would be like the best tactic for him against Sir Michael Blackwood, and how he's going to play it. And then we just leave it up to the dice gods to see what happens. Yeah, I'm modified by strength.
To do this in real life. Oh my god, this is complicated.
Yeah, it's a little complex. It's once we get into it, it's actually it's simple enough. It's sort of just a series of rolls, and then I look up on a table and I tell you what happens. But there's a little bit of strategy and tactic involved for your opponent and what you would like to, how you would like to play it. What would Cicero's like advice be, I guess?
My real life advice would be ride fast and just fucking hit him, but I don't know. All these pluses and minuses.
So I mean, you don't really have to worry too much about
sit in the
mechanics.
saddle. Don't post. Whatever you do, don't post.
Yeah, let me
Don't
give
look
you those
away. Yeah, give me those again.
Get those real quick for you. Let's see, combat 20s. Did I find it so quickly before? The back of this chapter. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So you have 5 options, and some of them are very similar. You got aggressive, and don't worry too much about the numbers here. Just like what they are, I guess. So aggressive, you can brace and like specifically brace your lance to make sure you're going to hit the person. Defensive. And make sure that you're not going to get hit. Eyes fixed, which is like the most balls to the walls but biggest advantage on hitting someone. And then high in the saddle, which makes it easier for you to hit the person, but if you get hit, you're very likely to be unhorsed because you're not like seated.
Right. Brace. Absolutely brace. Brace and not... Wait, are we talking about going up against Michael right now, or are we talking about going up against Donald Lee?
Oh, I guess,
Donald
I mean,
for
so Donald was going to help you, so yeah, he's like training with you, and is probably going to take a few hits just to make you feel good, but yeah, this is for like the Michael joust in a couple of days that he's training for.
So practice what you're gonna do. Okay. Bolton's Bolton's gonna be tough. So, I would imagine. And Cicero's probably is inexperienced. Brace, eyes fixed. That would be Cicero's advice. Brace the hell out of the lance, and look at your target. That might also come from I've never looked away. I've never heard of anyone turning their head before, but look where you want to hit and you will hit it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, this advice is gifted into Cicero. So a couple of things that you can do is between passes, if like there is no clear victor, you get a pass, and you get to catch your breath as an action and restore health to yourself. So if you get like a glancing blow and you're wounded from it, but don't like, you're not about to be unconscious, you get between a pass a chance to recover some health and to heal yourself up for the next round. You can also, of course, choose to yield at any time if you so desire. And of course, there are rules for cheating as well. If you're looking to cheat in this, then you can give yourself a unfair advantage and make it a fair amount easier at the loss of a lot of honor. Is that something that Cicero's
We're the goats. Who needs honor?
right?
We'll see if that's something that Cicero wants to do. Oh boy. Yeah, so for practice, let's go with what Sir Cyril is saying. We'll see how that works out. So are you able to do both at one time, or you have to pick one of the
You do
styles?
pick one. But I
Okay.
mean, in terms of the role play, that doesn't matter. You can say that you're keeping your eyes fixed on him as well, and we can see that happens. So to quickly give you an idea of what the cheating looks like, so you can even choose to strike like a more lightly armored area of them, or you can choose to strike your opponent's mount, which is like pretty dishonorable, but apparently sometimes these things happen. The attack deals normal damage, but mounts just like fucking die. Like you hit the mount with the lance of you're gonna kill the horse, and they're gonna come flying off most likely. Or if you were to choose to strike a less armored part of them, basically the game works in a way that you have armor points. Usually the most armor points you have in your chest, your breastplate, and you have less armor on the arms, the legs, the head, that kind of thing. So you could say, I'm going to strike his fucking face, and the lance is more likely to hurt or seriously maim him. So there we have it. So the afternoon of practice is sort of bent on being able to hit your target and to brace as you do so. So the afternoon passes into the evening as you guys train and practice, and after several hours, Sir Donald Lee, by the way, is just miles and away far more accomplished a jouster than you. He has got several specialty points in ride and spears, which means that he's both hard to hit and very good at hitting you. So you are probably by the end of this battered and bruised, and he's probably taken a few lances just to make you feel a little bit better about yourself with the practice lances that you're using. But yeah, by the end of the day, he sort of removes his helmet. He's sweaty and hot underneath, and is well, this has been literally the best time. I think you're getting better, You might be able to give him a run for his money.
Cicero, probably taking his helmet off and absolutely drenched in sweat, is just trying to catch his breath and just says, I think I'll need some more practice before we get to the actual date of the joust.
True enough. Sir Cyril, what do you think?
It was well done, but his targeting will be the most important. There are two ways you will take him off of the horse. Aim for the outside of the shoulder or the inside near the throat. Either you will send him spinning off of the mount, or your lance will deflect into his helmet, and you will take him out that way. Unseating him with a clean blow will probably not work.
Wise words indeed, Sir Bryce. Alas, so I must leave you for now and retire. He shoots a little smirk over towards Kaylee. Perhaps he's off to do the business that he mentioned previously. Or it is getting late, and I need some rest as well. I will see you on tomorrow for more training, young man. And he starts leading his horse up to the stables again.
Cicero just looks around and kind of looks past the training field. Is there any way I could get a bath around here?
You do spend a
You would
lot.
be asking the wrong man.
Well,
Fair fine with just a bucket of water and some cloth. A few moments alone in the tent. He trudges
Now
off to...
you're starting to sound like a knight.
He trudges off to go and find the things that he just listed off.
I'm going to walk with him because there's no way I'm letting him go off on his own here. Sister, how do you think you'd be strongest in this fight?
I sought to maintain some semblance of honor, win this fairly, but I don't think that's how it's going to be played.
I have
know one thing
no
about...
doubt that is not how it will be played. So I'm asking you, how best can you fight?
Cicero doesn't necessarily break his stride, but reaches his left, or he reaches his right hand under his cape. And after fumbling around for a few minutes, produces the same vial of poison that Devrin gave him before. Passes it
Just
to
a
him.
scratch is all you will need. But be
Either a
cautious.
scratch. Either a scratch or a stable boy.
I had thought the same thing. We will lose our horses, though. You know. It can't just be theirs.
Be what makes it seem the most fair. See if you can't... See if some of the water can't find its way into Michael's mouth as well.
Would be
Must
my
get awfully
pleasure.
thirsty.
With that, Cicero gathers up his things and goes inside the tent. Kind of shuts it behind him and fastens whatever there is to fasten. He does not want anyone disturbing him.
Okay. Yeah, you can like close the tent flap. Sefton Birch, what are you up to this evening?
Well, he will turn to the others as Cicero begins to walk off and just say, "Ah, yes, a bit of privacy for the young lord does sound nice, and, well, after watching an entire day of activity, I'm a bit worn out. I think I'll find a nice quiet place to just kind of rest my eyes for a bit before returning to the tent. You two," turning to Cyril and Kaylee, "you have a lovely evening." And he will begin to stroll and take a very long way to get to the Fox and the Fiddle.
Makes sense. You take a circuitous route to get there, and when you're sure that no one is following you, surreptitiously enter inside to what is pretty much a quiet bar. It's like so far down away from the keep in the castle as to be have not many sort of party goers and likes. It looks just like a lot of regulars in here, and a gruff-looking man sort of grunts to you as you enter from the bar.
Hello there. I'm meeting a friend here later. I believe there's some sort of, and he just kind of pans behind the bar, looking for some sort of back room. I believe that was something mentioned like that.
There's definitely a back room, sort of like a slightly misty glass door behind him.
So, if you don't mind, and he will just try to basically maneuver around him.
He extends a hand.
Think for a second and maybe pull out a few coins. Like, yes, and for your hospitality, thank you.
He
Before once again trying to get around him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's the coins that he's looking for. He takes them.
Of course. And he'll produce the stone from his pocket earlier today.
Yeah. He takes it and like slides it into a desk underneath the bar and like opens up the compartment for you to head in through the door.
Thank you. He'll march forward.
Yeah, the glass door opens up in front of you and enters into a sort of back, what looks to be like a smoking room. You could definitely see games of chance being played here. A circular table with a chair on one side and one on the other side, which is currently empty. There is another door behind the table in front of you.
You said there's that circular table with an empty chair?
Yeah.
Look left and look right. Walk forward slowly. It's a kind of a scritching sound as he pulls the chair against the floor backwards before placing himself in it. Kind of landing with a bit of an awkward thud before kind of straightening himself out. Just putting his hands on the table, looking forward.
Yeah, you wait there for what is an uncomfortable amount of time, sweating and waiting for someone to step through the door. Eventually, the door in front of you opens up, and a man, hard to age, cloaked in like a dark robe, steps into the room. He has, he's like clean shaven and has the look of a southerner about him. He does not have the slightly more sort of broad-chested, more rugged, heavy look on his face. You would immediately place as someone from being down closer to King's Landing. He has cool green eyes and does not appear to be visibly armed as he steps into the room and sits down opposite you. He almost has the look of a monk about him, almost of a septon.
Good evening. I assume you're my host. You have me at a bit of a disadvantage. I am Septon Birch. Extends a hand across the table.
Liar.
Excuse me.
I said liar.
Pulls the hand back. Well, you've got me there. When we join the Great Sept, we give up our birth names, just as those who join the Black give up theirs. So, you are correct. Septon Birch is not my born name.
You and I both know that's not your name at all, is it?
He looks the man in the eye for a second, and there's a bit of a shift in his voice, less of a rasp to it. So what is this then, huh?
Oh, it's just friends. Telling one another secrets. Things that we've learned about one another that I thought might be interesting to me too. What is your real name? We never learned it.
He's just kind of tapping his forehead for a bit. Alec. Alec Bull.
Oh. Nice
So
name.
what? Did you find them?
Oh, yes. Yes, we found them, all right, and then we found you. Then we found your friends as well.
So what now?
He, in one hand, he draws into a pocket and seems to draw something out. It's a very similar little statue of the mother that he seems to, like, run across his fingers absent-mindedly as he looks at you. Well, now we figure out your price, Alec. Because we know what you did. You got my message, I hope.
I did. It's clever. Very impressive, actually. Your information's pretty good.
Oh, thank you. But compliments won't get you anywhere.
So my price, then. What is it you want?
Well, the companions that you found yourselves with, the McNairs, seem to be more and more entwined in events outside of their control. Information on them is very valuable to us.
Answer seems obvious, but may I ask who is seeking this information?
Of course you may ask, but you will not receive an answer. You can call me Morton.
Morton, huh?
Let's go with that.
So what is it? About the McNairs, what do you want to know? I've only been there a short time.
I want to know everything there is to know about them. And in return, I won't hand you in and reveal your true identity. I have the feeling that your stay at the McNair Hall would be, well, cut short if they were to find out who you really were.
Pauses, just looks around, realizing he doesn't have many options here. I'll get you what you want. Everything you want, it's yours. But tell me, how do I talk to you after this? How do I leave this for you? What's the best way to get to know you?
He slides the little statue across the table towards you and says, "Give this to any one of the innkeeps that you will find here in Westeros. It's my calling card."
Takes it, pockets it. All right. The McNairs are yours.
Such a pleasure to meet you. Really, I wondered who you might be in person. After all, come a long way from what you were.
See to it I don't go back. And it's all yours. Anything you want.
Very well. I want you to find out more about that Devrin. In particular.
The boy from the wall?
Oh. Yes, the boy. The boy from the wall. Dear Alec. Not quite as on the ball as your name might suggest.
All right. It's yours then. It's all yours. And he takes a second, clears his throat, and then his voice as Birch will look the man in the eye and just say, "We hold our home then." Give him a smirk and a nod, and prepare to leave.
One more thing before you go.
Yes.
Those McNairs ought to be on the lookout. I don't think they're the only ones who have a trick or two up their sleeve.
Something I should know. Something you'd like to tell me.
Oh, just be on the lookout. Anything could be trouble. Even a Small scratch. Tell your friends that. See if that means anything to them. Oh, and tell Devrin that we know.
That's it?
Oh,
You know?
that's all. You have my calling card, after all.
Well, alright then. You have a lovely evening.
Oh,
And
one more thing. Sir Cyril Price. I know who he is. Let him know.
Is it true then? Is he noble-born? Is he...
That's for me to know and for him to find out. But I will give you this one warning aside from my previous one. Of course, I can hand you in, but some things are worse than that. You are to reveal this information to anyone aside from those who I've instructed you to, then I will have your tongue cut out and fed to the dogs. Understood?
Of course.
We hold our home.
Yes. Yes, quite. And now he will get up and try to get out of this room as quickly as possible.
We turn and leave. Where do you go?
Well, I guess I go back to the tent. And
All right.
yeah.
So as you head back to the tent, who do you find there? I guess who's out the tent at this point?
Yeah, who's outside?
Cicero's probably finishing up his makeshift shower, getting redressed, and
Then Devrin's
Just
probably
getting
standing
ready for the
guard
evening.
outside the tent.
Cyril is not there. He was tending to the horses that we used.
That's right. So
Haley's
yeah,
been exploring
I
the
guess,
marketplace.
Nice. I guess Birch would approach Devrin and just say, "Ah, Devrin, the young lord taken care of tonight."
I believe so, my lord. Right.
Excellent.
So,
Do you have a moment? Would you accompany me on a short walk? I could
I will not
appreciate the
leave
company.
him alone. I will stand guard. We can have a conversation here, then.
Well enough. Looks down and then looks back at Devrin. Before leaning very, very close into your face, like uncomfortably close, but hopefully just to whisper this. I don't know what you are hiding, who you really are, but he knows, young miss. And
Good.
will reveal the calling card he was given.
Devrin just
That's
says,
it then.
good. And leans back. Yeah, that's it.
Very well then. An excellent talk.
Have a
Maybe
wonderful
you should go
week.
check on Cicero.
I think I will do that, sir. A good evening to
Yes.
you. And to your
He
friends.
will turn his back he will turn his back and just wait outside the tent for Cyril to return at some point.
Did the calling card mean anything to me?
Not a thing.
Okay.
And I think as you all wait for Sir Cyril Price to return and to reveal something exciting to him, that's where we'll end tonight's episode of Game of Thrones, War of the Roses, as our party, the intrigue deepens. And
Are any
the
of us
competition draws nearer. Who the fuck are you guys?
No, it's all game.
Definitely real.
That's my favorite thing. It was like 6 weeks ago, whenever you gave me your backstories, I was like, huh, no one's fucking who they say they are. And then we get like 6 weeks later, I'm like, finally, it's all coming out. So,
Hey,
oh,
Kaylee doesn't
man,
have
man.
too many secrets, all right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The
She's the
option.
one little star.
She's about to get secrets, I'm sure, as a campaign progresses. Maybe there's a secret or two there that we don't know about yet. But that is where we're going to end tonight's campaign and show everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, let us know. If you haven't followed the show yet, hit the follow button. Join us. We're back again tomorrow, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, for Vampire the Masquerade. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to open up a giveaway for a set of tabletop loot dice for you guys there in the chat. So there you guys go. !loot to enter. But let's go around the cast and crew. Did we enjoy ourselves? And most importantly, where can we find you guys online? Let's start with Jen. How was that?
Oh, that was awesome. I love getting into the nitty-gritty of everybody's secrets and seeing the characters start to come alive, you know, as we're getting more and more pieces of the backstory and have new questions. This is so much fun. I love intrigue, and so this is, and also plotting and scheming. So this was a blast. Yeah, and so I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me on Twitter as DreamWisp. You can find me on Twitch as DreamWispJen. And then in the real world, I am producing your quality television. So that's where I am.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jen. And yeah, I can't wait to find out more about how conversation is about to go. Great stuff. Joseph, how was that, my friend?
Oh boy. Yikes. I was very stressed about halfway through this episode with everything that's going on with Squire Roynard. He's the purest of us all, and he must survive at all costs. And Will is yet again just demonstrating his unique ability to take the fabric of your backstory and weave his own threads into it, which will ultimately strangle you. So, very excited to see where that goes for everyone that's already been brought up and everyone that is to be brought up as well. So, my name is Joseph. You can find me on Twitter at JosephIsNotFast. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Joseph. And Kitty, how was that?
It was great. As always, every week it's wonderful. I'm excited to see like everything really start to unfold. But like you're edging us a little bit, man.
Just a little bit. We got to talk to them soon. Don't worry. It's all gonna come out.
No, it's good. So I'm Awkward Kitty Inc. I stream. I make art. You can find me on Twitter, everything, Instagram, Twitch, as Awkward Kitty Inc. Do roleplay and freelance art and everything. So check me out.
Amazing stuff. Thank you, Kitty. And Steel, how was that?
It was good. It's good to finally get some of the stuff out about Surprise, and then of course I've got a really great track record in always confiding in like the worst person. It happens all the time when I do role-playing video games. So I was like, well, surprise, surprise, of course. I told the one person
Yeah,
knows,
like,
and now it's the
I'm
worst
not
person
real.
to know.
And the scepter
Yeah.
was like, never mind, but oh, what's so weird?
Well, like with Cyril, he might be. He literally
Right,
legit doesn't know. So, it was very, very, very intriguing episode, especially as everyone's getting more solidified in their characters. And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter, as you see there, it's SteelRain27CDN. On Twitch, it's SteelRain27. And it's a little bit of that everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. It's either one of those two things. So you can find me in one of those two places. I stream on Twitch full time, Wednesdays through Sundays, and you might see me on television as well.
Awesome. Fantastic. And last but not least, Bird vs. Plane. How's that, my friend?
That was fantastic, and I can't wait for the finale of this season to conclude like an episode of Scooby-Doo where we're all just pulling off masks and revealing who we were the entire time. Man, this is so much fun. I can't wait to dive into this. I was so excited in that first hour with the Cyril confessions. Like, yes, give me this info, but didn't expect my own to come out. So this is a ton of fun. You can find me everywhere on the internet as Bird vs. Plane. I'm streaming on other channels, doing D&D stuff. I'm streaming on my own, raising money for Best Friends Animal Society, and I stream as often as possible. So stop by and check out me somewhere any given night of the week, basically.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Bird. And again, a big thanks to the Lacasse for showing up and putting up with some crunchy, confusing tourney rules. But I think we're going to get into it pretty hot and heavy next week with the tournament coming up with a joust for the life of Squire Roynard. Oh, man. Shout out to my boy, Squire Roynard, who's going through some shit right now. Hopefully he'll be okay. Let's pick the winner for the giveaway. It is Lamask Nation. Congratulations, buddy. You're a winner. And you won yourself an episode 10 Top Loot Dice. Congrats. We will be back again tomorrow, like I say, for Vampire the Masquerade. But we're going to go host and raid our friend Mad Morph, who's streaming some RimWorld for the first time. So go check it out. He plays City of Mist to us every Thursday, and he's an awesome streamer and caster. But until next time, my friends, try not to roll too many numbers because we want to be laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night.
Terrible things to your squires. Bye.